You know what's insane? Right now, your brain is craving the next hit. Not of drugs, but of something far more legal, far more addictive. Your phone. And the craziest part? You probably checked your phone at least twice in the last 10 minutes without even thinking about it. 150 times a day. That's how often the average person checks their phone. 150 times. That's once every 6 minutes of your waking life. But here's what nobody tells you about those 150 hits. There was this guy I knew, let's call him Mike. And Mike's story is probably going to make you uncomfortable, because it's probably your story too. Mike thought he had his life together. Good job, nice apartment, successful guy. But Mike had this one habit that was slowly destroying his life, and he didn't even know it. What happened to Mike explains why your phone has more control over your emotions than you do. If you've ever felt anxious when your phone battery died, if you've ever scrolled through Instagram on the toilet, if you've ever reached for your phone the moment you felt even slightly bored, then congratulations. You're a dopamine junkie. Just like Mike. Just like me. Just like basically everyone watching this. And the apps, they absolutely love it. So, Mike, this dude had what he called a morning routine. Sounds healthy, right? Wrong. Mike's morning routine was basically digital heroin. Eyes open, phone grab, Instagram stories, TikTok, emails, news, more TikTok, back to Instagram, and suddenly it's 10 a.m. and he's running late for work. But Mike thought this was normal. He said, just staying connected, just checking what's happening in the world. Until he decided to actually track his usage for 1 week. Just 1 week. 7 hours and 23 minutes. Every single day. That's more time than he slept. More time than he worked. More time than he spent with his girlfriend, his family, his friends, combined. And here's the kicker. He couldn't remember 90% of what he'd seen. You want to know what Mike was actually doing? He was basically volunteering for a psychological experiment. Except the lab rats were getting better treatment. Every notification, every like, every red dot, every story view, that's a microdose of dopamine. The same chemical that creates dependency patterns. But here's what they don't tell you about dopamine. It's not the happiness chemical, it's the craving chemical. So your brain never gets satisfied. It just gets hungrier, more desperate, more willing to check your phone in the middle of intimate moments just in case someone liked your selfie. And the apps, they have teams of neuroscientists, literal brain specialists, whose only job is to increase your engagement. They study behavioral psychology to make Instagram more irresistible. They hire experts in human psychology to capture your attention faster. You're not using social media. Social media is using you. Now, here's where Mike's story gets really uncomfortable. Because you're probably seeing yourself in it. When's the last time you went to the bathroom without your phone? When's the last time you ate a meal without documenting it, or scrolling through something? When's the last time you had a real conversation without the urge to check your notifications? Mike realized he wasn't living his life anymore. He was performing it, curating it, editing it for people who probably forgot about his post 3 seconds after they saw it. He was trading real moments for digital validation, real intimacy for online interactions, real presence for constant absence. He was physically there but mentally somewhere else. Always somewhere else. And the most messed up part? He called it staying connected while becoming more disconnected from everything that actually mattered. The wake-up call came when Mike's girlfriend asked him a question that completely broke his heart. She didn't yell. She didn't get angry. She just looked at him with tired eyes and said, "When you're with me? Are you actually with me?" And Mike wanted to lie. He wanted to say yes so badly. But the honest answer was no. Even during sex, part of his brain was thinking about that notification sound. Even during their most intimate conversations, he was mentally composing his next post about how grateful he was for their relationship. He realized he'd become afraid of silence, terrified of boredom, scared to death of being alone with his own thoughts. Because when you're constantly stimulated, constantly entertained, constantly running from yourself, you forget who you actually are underneath all that digital noise. There's this ancient Buddhist teaching that says, peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. But we're doing the exact opposite, aren't we? We're seeking everything outside. Validation, entertainment, connection, meaning, all through a screen. Maybe the thing we're really addicted to isn't the phone. Maybe it's the escape from ourselves. Maybe we're scared of what we might find if we actually sat still for 5 minutes. Mike's story doesn't end there. He didn't throw his phone in a drawer and become a monk. He just started paying attention. Really paying attention to when he reached for it and why. He started asking himself, am I using this tool, or is this tool using me? And slowly, something beautiful happened. He started remembering what it felt like to be bored, to be curious about the world around him instead of the world in his pocket. Look, if Mike's story hit a little too close to home, you're not broken, you're just human. Drop a comment. How many times did you check your phone today? Be honest, no judgment here. Sometimes the first step to freedom is just noticing the cage.